And today we have Nathan with us, who is a raw food expert and who is a juice fasting expert. And before we jumped into the main subject, I just want to say that this webinar has been organized by the Weekly Fasting Group. And this is an international WhatsApp group that unites people who cultivate the habit of fasting once a week on a consistent basis. So we fast at a specific time every week for 24 hours. There are some people who extend it. And we do it week after week after week in order to create this habit. And this habit is really, really life-changing. So if you're watching this video and this idea appeals to you, then my name is Arik. I'm the manager of this group. And you have my WhatsApp number below the video. You're welcome to send me a message with your name, and I will happily add you to the group. So, so that's about that. And I also want to tell you that I came across Nathan's channel on YouTube some time ago, maybe a few weeks ago. And I was really, really impressed by his willingness to share, his willingness to really give something from himself to others and to help others. On his channel, he has extensive videos about different aspects of juice fasting, different aspects of raw foods. And it's pretty much the most, I only watched his videos about juice fasting, solid food vacation, and it's pretty much the most comprehensive videos that I have found so far on YouTube. He really has like 3 hour audiobook, full audiobook on different aspects of juice fasting, and it's all for free. So first of all, Nathan, well done, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then I contacted Nathan and I invited him to join our group. And then we were talking about this webinar because I think that if more people know about this tool of juice fasting, it's gonna benefit you big time because if you add at least a few days during the week of juice fast, in addition to our weekly fasting, then in my opinion, it's going to upgrade your detox, going to upgrade many things. Or if you just want to go on solid food vacation, it is also going to benefit you big time. So let's welcome Nathan. And let's jump right into this subject. But before we actually start with the subject, I would love to know a little bit more about you, Nathan. If you could tell us a little bit about your personal healing journey, your life journey. So over to you.
Sure. Well, I'm Nathan. I'm 28 years old. I was born in the Netherlands and raised there, which also meant the typical Dutch diet. Lots of meat, bread, potato, pasta, all that stuff. Very skinny as a kid. So when I got to the age of 14, 16, I remember standing in a Jack and Jones store wearing an XS t-shirt. It was still not sitting tight. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I started eating a lot of food. And with a lot of food, it was a lot of bad food. And I continued doing that for years and years, eventually got into bodybuilding. And that's when my health started deteriorating to the point where I got all kinds of pains and aches. I had a swollen gut, distended gut. I had digestion issues. I had horrible skin conditions. I started losing my hair, knee pain, back pain, all kinds of pains. And that basically got me thinking like, something isn't right here, right? Like I'm 22, 23, like I'm falling apart. Something isn't right. So then I made a transition from a junk food bodybuilding diet to a vegetarian diet after seeing a documentary. And I had a girlfriend at the time who kept pestering me about it. I think many women who might see this video will know that subtle hints usually don't come to a man. So you just pile drive it. That's what you did. And before I knew it, I was a vegetarian. And I saw a lot of benefits. And my digestion improved. My distended gut became less. So I started, being interested in more of that stuff because I started feeling better. So I felt like, well, the next step would be vegan. So that's what I did. Then I saw more and more of the issues I had reversed, but still wasn't fully away. And then I discovered John Rose in January 2017. And I binge watched like 30 of his videos, and he was a raw vegan and he looked good. He presented it nicely. So I was like, why not give it a shot? And that's basically how the raw veganism started. And that's also how I discovered juice fasting. And I had about a serious detox for 2.5, 3 weeks. And then it was smooth sailing from there, basically. And all my issues just reversed. So like in a nutshell, that's where I came from and how I got to raw foods and everything.
Amazing. Okay, so please enlighten us about the different aspects of solid food vacation, how to approach it. What would you recommend to a person who has never done it before? Because because today you are a raw food coach and you are fasting coach, right?
Yeah, both raw foods coach, juice fasting coach, and also apply regular fasting in my daily life as well. When it comes to juice fasting, my own journey to it was that I did raw foods for 2.5 years before actually going to juicing. And with most people, I would not advise jumping in a juice fast straight away. I would advise to transition. So what I would advise if someone wants to know more about juice fasting is first watch my complete guide to juice fasting video series. So you actually know what is a juice fast, what is the goal of it, what can I achieve with it, and what must I do to achieve the thing that I want to achieve. And before that, slowly transition to it. So if you come from a junk food diet or whatever standard Western diet or whatever kind of diet that isn't raw foods, slowly introduce raw foods first, see how you respond to that, see what kind of things come up detox wise, or maybe your body is giving signals. Then you know what's going on, and then you might know what's going to happen in a juice fast. And when you go to a juice fast, you have to have very clear that in my mind, when you want to do a juice fast, there's a couple of ways you can go about it. You can do it to enhance your life on a weekly basis. So 1 day of juicing, for example, that can be very beneficial for your digestion, for your hydration, and also for health, of course. You can do 1 or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But in my opinion, if you want to do a real good juice fast, then the goal is very simple. You drink enough juice until you stop pooping. So you basically clean out your entire digestive system. So that would be a good way to utilize a juice fast. Now, for that, you need to know what you need to drink in order to cover your caloric and nutritious needs. You also need to know how much you need to drink. You need to know what your body is capable of and what it can do so that you don't get overwhelmed when you're basically in your juice fast. And you also need to know how to get everything that you need to get to make the juices. And you also need to know if you can exercise, whether you can do this financially, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of preparation that comes to a juice fast. And in my opinion, like I said, the main goal of a juice fast is to clean out your digestive system, because most things we eat take way too long to go through us. They putrefy, they harden, and they stick to your gut wall. And after 10 or 20 years of eating this, you have layer after layer sitting there. And I was a raw vegan 2.5 years before doing my first juice fast, and I still had like 6 kilograms come out of me. So that's almost 13, 14 pounds. So was a lot of stuff in me, and I wasn't even fat or anything. I was pretty ripped at the time. So you need to know what you're doing with the juice fast. So when you haven't done a raw food diet before, first do a little bit of raw food, see how your body responds. Then you can go into a juice fast, and you can see how far you can take it. But you can achieve many things with a juice fast.
Okay, good, good. So what would be, because most of our members here in the group, they already have certain background in healthy eating, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So if a person really wants to go on prolonged juice fasting, solid food vacation,
Yeah.
what do they have? What do they have to do? Like, could you please be more specific? Like, which points? What would be the main points? And we also take into account that they have their regular life. Like they're
Yes.
not going on vacation. They are going on
Mm-hmm.
solid food vacation, but they
Yes.
go on working, go on taking care of their families, etc.
Yes. Yes. Well, the first thing that you need to do is get a good juicer. So let's say you have a juicer that doesn't give you that much of a yield, then you're not going to get the most out of your juices. You end up spending more money. So get a juicer that's actually good, and get a juicer that suits your life. So if you have a busy lifestyle, then you want a juicer that makes juice really quickly. If you have the time and the energy to make it, then you can choose a juicer that is maybe a little slower, but gives you even more yield. So you have to select a couple of good juicers. Good brands could be Omega, for example, Green Star, but there's also cravings and stuff like that. So there's actually a channel called Discount Juicers that basically reviews every single juice machine that there is. So check that out. And then the second thing that you need to do before you start is check your kidneys. Do they filter? So pee in a jar. Now for men, this is a little easier than for women. I get that. But pee in a jar, let it sit for about 1 to 2, maybe 3, 4 hours. and then see if there's sediment there. If there's sediment, they're filtering. If not, then you have to also get your kidneys to filter through other ways. But then you know, if they're filtering good, I can do a juice fast and I don't have to worry about that. If they're not filtering, then you need to support your liver more, because that will be more burdened with detoxification or getting rid of toxins. Then you have to assess the rest of your body. So do I have any kind of medical history in the sense of taking drugs or whatever that could be sitting in my body? Do I have any kind of issues in my body? Do I have skin issues? Do I have nasal issues? Do I have lung issues? Do I have any type of issue in my body? That is something that is a red flag from your body telling you like, hey, there's an issue here, which means there's also a systemic issue. Otherwise the issue would not, come out there. So there you can also look at what kind of things are going on there. And then you can look up specific juices that might help that situation over there. Once you have that all sorted out, then you need to start looking at, I have my juicer, I know what's going on with my body. What do I need to drink? So then you're going to look at your caloric needs. Now, for example, there's two things that you need to look at. Basal metabolic rate, which is the calories you need on a day when you're laying on the couch and doing absolutely nothing to make sure that your body doesn't burn itself for energy or fuel. So you need to look at around 1,200 to 1,300 for women and about 1,500 to 1,600 for men. That's what you need to cover minimum every single day with juice. Every single day. Otherwise, you're going to burn your lean body mass, your muscle, basically. So you do that with fruit. And this is what I call the calorie horse. So you drink 4 to 5 liters of fruit juices to cover that basal metabolic rate with the calories. Then that is covered. And then based on your activity, you either add more or less. Less is not preferable. So then you have your calories covered, and you can add more based on your activity. Then you have to look at the nutrients, because your body also needs minerals, it needs vitamins, and you can't get everything from fruit, not the juice especially. So then you need to drink about 2 liters of vegetable juices. Now, there's many ways to look at this, but if you drink 2 liters of a good mix of vegetable juices, then you will get all the proteins you need, all the minerals, all the vitamins. When you combine that, you have about 4 to 6 liters of juice. That's what you drink on a daily basis. And then you get everything you need so you don't waste away on your juice fast. Now, good fruit juices to think of are, for example, oranges. You can think of apples. You can think of, for example, watermelons, all kinds of melons. You can also think of carrots. They're very high in calories too. You can think of sweet potatoes. Grapes are high in calories too. All that kind of good stuff. And for vegetable juices, you can think of leafy greens. You can think of cucumbers. You can think of kales. All kinds of things you can throw in it. Sweet potato, carrot, all the good stuff to get the nutrients in. So once you have that covered, then you know what to drink and how much to drink of it. Because there's another aspect to drinking a lot of juice. When you want to rehydrate everything in your system, it takes a lot of juice. It's been sitting there for quite a while. It's basically a dried up, dirty sponge. It needs to absorb a lot of water and fluid before it reaches critical mass, breaks off, and you can poop it out. So it's also important to drink a lot of juice to flush it out. Now, if you don't drink enough juice, you won't have good energy. You might get cleansing reactions because your organs don't get supported that well without the nutrients, especially if you don't drink green juices. And also you won't have enough flushing over there to get good results. So 4 to 6 liters minimum. And once you have that covered, then you can build a routine with it. So when you build a routine, it's very simple. Like, when will you make your juice? How will you store it? And when will you drink it? Once you have that sorted out, then you can basically make a daily routine around your daily life. Now, for example, when I did my first long juice fast, which was 120 days, I had a job. I had to go everywhere by train. I was in the train for about 2.5 to 3 hours every single day, going through the entire country. So I would actually get up early, make a lot of juice that I could take with me throughout the day. And then when I got home, I would drink my vegetable juices at the end of the day or whatever. I mix it up, but I was always prepared. So on a daily basis, make sure you also know how much juice should I make, what should I take with me, and when will I drink it. When you have that sorted out, then you can also think of budget. So what should I buy? How much will it cost me? What is affordable for me? And what are various ways to make it more affordable if I can? So best advice is seasonal. If you're living in Norway where it's always raining or it's freezing or whatever, it can be a little tough. So then you can look at things that are high in calories, such as apples, and add, for example, I don't know, green powders or whatever to it, or the vegetables you can find. If you're living somewhere in Costa Rica, good life, you can drink anything. If you're living in South Europe, you can drink probably anything. So look at your geographical location, what's available in what season, that will make it cheaper and also make it easier to juice. So once you have that entire thing covered, then you can actually start looking at another couple of details, which would be what is coming out of me, how much is coming out of me, am I seeing regular bowel movements? You preferably want to move your bowels every single day. If you don't, The toxins are going to sit in your bowels, they're going to release, but they're not coming out. So that's going to be a problem. So you want to move that every single day. So you can look at massaging your colon, moving your body, and also drinking a lot of juice to flush it out. And then you need to start looking at what's coming out of you. You'll see some nightmares come out of you pretty quickly once you're on a long juice fast, especially if you drink enough, it will flush everything out. Then there's another thing that you need to look at. That is, how is my body responding? Am I being overwhelmed? Am I getting cleansing reactions? If you are, then you need to either drink more vegetable juices because the fruits are a little more aggressive and they can overwhelm you, or you need to support your organs more. Now, the liver is one of the things that actually cleanses the blood. So supporting that with glutathione, which is an enzyme that helps it to detoxify the body and neutralize toxins. This is high in melons, so then you can add that. If you want to support your liver, there's a couple herbs that you can use for that. Robert Morse talks a lot about this, but there's also dry fasting that you could use, but you have to know if your body can handle this. Those are the two main things that you need to look at. A couple other organs that might be down. If you can sweat and you also have no kidney filtration, then you probably know that your adrenals are down too. So you need to look at those. If you don't have kidney filtration, but your adrenals are not down, then you can sweat. And sweating helps a lot to eliminate a lot of lymphatic tissues and waste from the body. So you can use that too. Then exercising a lot, moving your body, and then you basically got the bulk of it covered. And then it's basically every single day making sure that you drink enough, cover your caloric and nutritious needs, move your body, doesn't have to be strenuous. Then make sure that you support your organs of elimination, either with the glutathione or doing some dry fasting, sweating a lot, moving your body, drinking enough juice, etc., etc. And then also making sure that you know what's coming out of you and how you're progressing. Your budget is tight, and you also know that you're making your juices right and you're taking them with you and you're drinking everything that you need. And then from there, it's basically just going as long as you want or need.
Okay, amazing, amazing. Guys, we have really real treasure here, treasure of knowledge. Thank you very much, Nathan.
You're welcome. Well, in my complete guide to juice fasting, like it's way more structured. There's 3 big episodes. Now I'm just going through all the basics pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But there it's all insanely detailed, like every single step. So if you really want to know something about juicing and you have no clue, then complete guide to juice fasting, it's all there, like everything in detail.
Yeah, we're going to put the links below this video. So guys, do you have any questions so far? If you have any questions, please unmute yourself and ask your questions.
Hello, Nathan.
Hello, Ravi.
Very nice to know the insights on this fasting, and
you're welcome.
It's empowering to know about your journey so far. I've been practicing this juicing since maybe 6 months at least. I've been a proper practitioner since a year. So the strange thing which I want to admit is, in the day when I, when I do this juicing, I feel really energetic and everything. But I don't know why this strange thing of craving starts. One, it's particularly after 7 p.m. I must say. I don't know why I start developing this craving. This is the first thing which I want to admit here, because in India we are too much, habituated to eat more of solid food, and South Indians in particular. If you are a bit knowledgeable about the Indian culture, we tend to eat a lot. Of course, not now anymore after coming into this raw vegan lifestyle, but yes, this is what the habit, the past impressions again of eating the solid food again tends to creep up a bit, particularly after 7 p.m. in the evening. In the daytime, when the sun is on top of me, I don't feel any craving of eating. This is not again due to lack of any energy. It's just that tendency to eat with salt or some solid food. This is the first thing. The second thing is I lost a bit of my face muscle. Of course, I do know this thing that when you're a raw eater, body tends to come to its ideal weight. But having been in this weekly fasting group and having been the speaker, of course, like Arik and you look real good. I mean, I don't know why we lose this face muscle. This is the other thing which I would like to talk. And is there any procedure, is there any chronology in which we should approach this juicing? Or should I make any adjustments to the lifestyle so far? That's what I want to know.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll answer the face thing first.
Nathan, could you please repeat the question that you are answering, because the quality of the sound was not the best?
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't really know what the first question is. I think cravings after 7 p.m. or something. I think that's right.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So cravings after 7 p.m. Then facial muscles losing its structure, becoming less when you're fasting, right?
Yes. Again, I don't know. It didn't develop again. I mean, everyone of the practitioners of raw vegan lifestyle, they didn't lose their face muscle, but I strangely have lost it.
Okay. Well, the first one I'll answer secondly, but the second one, losing the face muscles, I had this too on my juice fast. When the body's principle is very simple. If you don't use it, you'll lose it. Let's say you don't work out your muscles for 6 months, your body is like, I don't need those, so away with them. They're just energy expenditures that I don't use and need. It's the same with the face muscles. If you don't chew, those muscles are gonna atrophy, right? It would be the same if you put your arm in a casket after you broke it, you don't use it, then it's gonna become thin because the muscles are not used. So it's the same with the face muscles. With almost everybody who's on a juice fast, all my clients as well, when they start refeeding again, after a week or two, their face is basically fuller again and you can see the change. Especially if you don't eat on a regular basis, then those muscles are just gonna go away. The same if I don't use my arm for like 3 months, then it's just gonna be a little twig, you know? As for the cravings at night, when you experience cravings, for example, if you experience anything salty, like a salty, crunchy thing or whatever, you're just not satisfying your needs most of the time. So what's happening is a lot of people eat a lot of fruit and they drink a lot of fruit juice, but then they don't cover their vegetables or their nutritious needs. So they cover calories, but not nutrients. So at night, you're gonna start craving things. It's the same when you have people that are on, for example, a junk food diet. They could eat entire day junk food, but they're never satisfied. Although they're getting all their calories, they're not getting the nutrients. So when you satisfy your caloric needs, but also your nutritious needs, then you're covered. If you don't, then you're gonna end up in trouble. So I still experience this sometimes. If I don't eat my salad, then I'm gonna, I don't know, want something salty or whatever, or something minerals, like, then I'm not getting everything I need. So that's a very important thing to look at. If you're experiencing the same cravings at the end of the day every single time, can be cultural, I don't know, but then you're not satisfying all your needs. So you need to either look at your juicing regimen, whatever you mentioned, or at your nutritious intake as well to make sure that you get everything you need so you don't experience cravings. Now, if you're interested, like I have a juice fasting blueprint and a raw food blueprint on my website too. It states everything there, nutrients, calories, and juices, and also in the raw foods and everything to make sure you get everything, man. So if you're ever in trouble, just go to my website, it's natanvondutch.com, and there you find everything.
Okay, sure. I will just look into this. Sorry. Thank you very much.
And if you want to have like more jaw, I just, I don't know, put something in your mouth, chew it and spit it out or something for a minute. I don't know. But when you eat again, it's going to come back, man. And otherwise, just eat like a maniac, man. And then hope you get your jaw back.
Nathan, so could you say that during your prolonged juice fasting, you got to the state where you have no cravings at all?
No, none. The first 3 days, I was still wanting food. But then after that, I didn't really want food anymore. I did experience cravings though, but it's interesting. Like when you go on a long juice fast, you rehydrate the stuff that's still sitting in your digestive system after eating really unnatural foods. They take way too long to go through us. They're very dried out and the colon sucks out even more water. So they become a dry and sticky mess that blockade the bowel walls. When this stuff releases and comes out, you feel sometimes very horrible. I mean, it can be very old stuff, like can be sitting in you for 2 or 3 decades. I don't know. When sometimes that stuff came out, I got cravings. Like suddenly I got this wild imagination of eating McDonald's with my family in Barcelona or something, or eating I don't know, a rice and pea dish with tuna fish. And eventually I started to catch on, like probably the memories I have are connected to when that stuff that's coming out was probably made with that meal or whatever. But I did experience cravings. But I never really wanted to eat during my juice fast until I got to the end where I was clean and I was like, well, this is done. Like there's nothing coming out of me anymore, only juice. So I want to eat again. But I have never, ever experienced cravings again. Even during my long juice fast, the smell of food wasn't appealing at all either. Like I just wanted the juice, like it just felt so good. And it was a lot of fun. But I do have clients who have a lot of cravings. They really have to battle them. But I think this is the reason why I say transitioning to a raw food diet, or at least more raw foods before you go to juicing, is probably very important, because then you have a more of a baseline before you go into juicing. If you go from a junk food diet to juicing, you're gonna get some cravings and they can become pretty bad.
Absolutely.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Thank you. Thank you. The point which I've been waiting for. Thanks, Natan.
Good, man, good.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, who else has any questions for Natan?
I think Ravito has one. There she goes.
I have some questions.
Sure.
Can you hear me? Is that okay?
I can hear you.
Okay. Juice fast is just a temporary stage, right? But on a regular basis, you have to be on a raw diet, right?
Correct.
So I wanted to ask, what should you have on a raw diet? Could you have nuts and seeds? Is that recommended, or just fruit and vegetables? Just no.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Well, recommended. There's a lot of people who say many things. Like some people say eat only bananas, then other people say eat only peaches, and others say eat only nuts. I don't know. There's a lot of variations there. In my own experience, I found nuts and seeds to be fine. Some nuts don't digest that well, others do for me. My main goal with it is like juice fasting indeed is a temporary thing. It's something you do on a temporary basis, but on a prolonged period to get something out of it. So either clean your body or rehydrate your body or heal something, to give your body all the energy it needs to do that instead of digesting. Raw foods is basically there to nourish you and make sure that you thrive. So you need to get everything you need. So you need to make sure that you cover your caloric need. So eat a lot of fruit for calories, and then also nutrients. So that's where we get to the vegetables, the leafy greens, the salads. And there you can also add nuts and seeds. And then you can just see, do they digest well for me or not? I mean, there's a lot of nutrients in those things. If you soak them, they digest very well. I regularly use them in dressings and stuff. That's where I like to use them. So yeah, they're very good.
How do you know you get all your nutrients? How do you know that you have all the minerals and vitamins that you need?
Right. Well, in the beginning, when I just transitioned, yeah, go ahead.
You don't go and ask the doctor, right? Because
no, I don't trust those. Well, the thing is, like, we always have to keep in mind that our soil status is pretty poor. So are we getting everything they say we are when we put it in chronometer or whatever? We don't know. But at least those are the numbers to go by. And you can, what I did the first 3 months when I transitioned to a raw food diet is I put everything, I basically weighed everything and then put it into chronometer. And after those 3 months, I basically knew by mind what I needed to get to make sure that I get everything I need according to chronometer. But now I got to a point where I can just feel like, oh, I need something. Like my body will just tell me. So sometimes I just have a craving for a specific nut. Like, for example, I don't know, pecan nuts. Then I just put it into chronometer and see what is the highest thing in pecan nuts. That's that mineral. All right, so that's my body is telling me. So with salads, for example, let me just tell you, like my first meal was always fruit. I show this on my YouTube channel too, which covers a lot of my calories. Then my second meal was a smoothie. So there's fruit in there, but also greens. So I already get a lot of nutrients in there. And then my last meal was a salad where I add fats in. I also put some fats in the smoothie, but I also add a lot of different greens and vegetables in. And when you put everything in chronometer, then you can actually see what's in there. Then you get a rough estimation. So that way you know roughly what you're getting. And then depending on where you live and what's the quality, you're either getting everything or not.
So basically it's, I mean, we have to try. We have no one to turn to, science, doctors. We have
you
to
can trust. Well, I mean, like even the FDA, like the Federation for Drug Administration, like in the US, which regulates the nutritional values, right, says it's an estimation. They say their numbers are not absolute. So it's always a guessing work anyway, but you can get really close with that. But you can go to a doctor if you want, or you can go to a nutritionist or whatever if you like to see that. But even they are guessing, right? They don't know. Even all these administrations don't know. They say there's this in the food. How do you know they're telling the truth, right? So it's always a guessing game, so you don't know, right? But you can use Chronometer, you can use I don't know, MyFitnessPal or something, or you can have a local lab check your food. But yeah, that's basically that.
Yeah, because when you go to a nutritionist, they tell you to eat cheese and meat and all
Yes.
that. You need the
That's what they're
protein.
taught in school. That's what they're taught in school. So yeah, that's what they tell you. Now there are vegan nutritionists, but then you get to the interesting subject that you destroy nutrition when you cook it. And to what degree, there's always various opinions on here. But then again, not all cooked food is horrible either. Like I've experimented a lot with foods, like in between juice fasting, but also like a couple months ago. And I know for myself that, for example, soups digest fine for me. And also, for example, chickpeas when they're in hummus, which they're fine, but they digest fine. Mashed up sweet potato digests fine. Now, how much nutrients is in there? I don't know. If you steam them, there's less nutrient loss. So it's always a guessing game, in my opinion. But I can feel when I've satisfied my needs because I'm not really feeling like I need anything else. But when I, for example, have a smaller salad, then at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, I could use something more, So then I know that I have had less than I wanted. But yeah, you're right. Like, who can we trust and who can't we trust, and where should we go and who to listen to? Like that's why I always just wrote everything down and put it into Chronometer and weighed everything, and then I had the most grasp on it. But even then, you're just trying to hold on to something which might not be true, so you don't know, which is hard, right?
So the point is just to be your own expert, to really learn from life, from your own experience, from listening to yourself, from listening to your body.
Yes, and then you can always take supplements, right? You can take some cream powders or I don't know, whatever you could take if you really want to be secure. But the one thing you really need to take care of is B12, because usually you would get that from the microorganisms in the water or in the soil, but we're using all kinds of pesticides, we're washing everything away. So do take a supplement of that, because if you're going to get issues with that, they're lasting, like the damage lasts. It can't be reversed. So do take B12.
Because they say that at a certain point we become like we live on prana. At a certain point, maybe the body is able to create its own can I don't know, can get along from the air, from energy, we can create it too.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've never met a breatharian, but I'm sure they're probably out somewhere, I suppose. The thing is, like, you have a digestive system, you have bodily needs, and if you can't fulfill them with air, then you have to go to food. The thing is, like, we do make certain nutrients ourselves. We just need to get the essential nutrients that we don't make from the food or through the air or whatever. I'm open for everything, but for me now, I just focus on the food and everything. And yeah, covering your needs that way is doable, but you need to know what you're doing. So you just need to spend some time, know what's in this food and that food, and then eventually you know it by mind. But yeah, if you want to live off prana, by all means, but just check Chronometer to tell you how much prana you need or how much air you need, so you get everything you need, right?
Okay, guys. So
thank you, Nathan.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, guys, does anyone else have any more questions? If not, I will ask a few questions from the chat, from the chat in our group. But if you have any more questions, please, by all means, ask them. Unmute yourself and ask.
Anything. Nothing is off the table.
So one more question, Natan.
Yes.
I want to know about your take on probiotics. Does the body, has a natural tendency to produce probiotics on its own, or because you have been a seasoned liquidarian now, so any external probiotics you have been taking in your journey so far?
I've never used them. Some of my clients have used them. I would say they're very beneficial after fast, because when your digestive system is not active after juice fast, it has to rebuild the entire gut flora, right? So then they could be very beneficial to promote the gut flora. I also know a couple of my clients take them when they're raw food journeys, which is nice. They have good benefits with them. Personally, for me, like, my digestion is always very good, so I never really needed anything. I have, however, experimented with cooked foods, and then it just boggled down and like nothing came out anymore. I was like, fine, I'll go back on a juice fast. But I've never personally used them. For example, a lot of my clients do coffee enemas. I've never used those myself either. Don't like coffee, don't really like enemas either. So there's a lot of things that you can use that can be beneficial for you, but I would say try them. So at first try them nuancedly, like try a little bit of it. and then try more to see how you respond. For example, one of my clients took the bentonite clay and the psyllium husk, but before he did that, he put it in like a little cup and he filled it, and it became like the form of the cup and the shape of it, and it became like a hard mass and whatever, and like jelly and stuff. And he said, like, that's probably what it's going to do in my body. So he documented everything, and then he took his conclusion from it. So if you want to take that stuff, make a little project out of it and see what it does for you, so you can see the differences, right? So have a zero measure point and have an end point, and then you can see the difference and evaluate if it's usable for you. But yeah, a lot of my clients have good experiences with the probiotics, so you could use them for sure.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Thanks.
Okay, guys, anyone else? Okay, Nathan, so someone is asking here if you, just a moment. Someone is asking if you have ever tried a dry or water fast. What are your thoughts about it, especially as a fruitarian or, okay, okay, you're not a fruitarian, but especially for, he says, especially for fruitarian people with fat-free fruits, basic based diet, and occasionally greens or veggie juices. Okay, so that's the question. And yeah, and I would also like to add, how would you compare your experience if you did try those kind of fasts? How would you compare your experience between them and juice fasting?
Right. Well, if we look at a juice fast, it's just a modified water fast, right? Water fasting nowadays can be dangerous because we're full of environmental toxins and our body might not be supported to get them out. And water fasting is more powerful than juice fasting in many ways, but then juice fasting has its merits too. I've done a 7-day water fast, the longest. I've done a couple 3 ones and 5-day ones. I've also done a dry fast of 52 hours, which was the longest I ever did. So I have my experience with those. I like water fasting up to the point where I've crossed like 3-4 days, and then I noticed that I got into autolysis where the body just burns up itself. But it's very powerful, but you have to know what you're doing. With juice fasting, you have to know what you're doing, but with water fasting, especially because if your body's damaged or you're not properly eliminating stuff, then it can become bothersome. But it's very powerful. I would say when you're working, then juice fasting is way superior because you're getting all the energy you need to keep doing what you need to do. You're also flushing and rehydrating your system. So that's very beneficial. I would say for fruitarians, I personally don't adhere to fruitarianism because like there's maybe a couple places in the world where that might work because you can get everything from fruit, but in most places of the world you can't. So when you go on a water fast and you've been a fruitarian for quite a long time, you have to know that you're probably not getting everything you need in most cases. Now, a lot of people are pretty anal about this, but it is what it is. Like if you're not supporting all your organs of elimination, then you might get overwhelmed on the water fast. So make sure that you're supplementing in some way. I don't know. And other than that, juice fasting would be better because you're actually getting all the nutrients and the greens you need if you're not getting them through your diet. And as for the occasional, adding occasional juices on a fruitarian diet, that's fine, man, good. But I would highly advise people if they're on a fruitarian diet, make sure you get everything you need. If you can do that through fruits, good. If you don't, for God's sake, man, just get some greens in or something. But water fasting, very powerful, very good. Juice fasting, very powerful, very good. Both of their merits. And dry fasting, very potent. That was the most intense thing I ever did, dry fasting. I don't think I'll ever do it again, but very powerful, but be careful. It can tax the kidneys as well. So yeah, just know what you're doing.
Thank you very much, Nathan. And another person is asking, how can one keep daily activities like regular worth daily activities while prolonged juice fast?
Drink enough. So if you drink enough calories and you drink enough nutrients, then you have no problem going on. So let's say you are active all day and your basal metabolic rate, like we talked about before, the minimum calories you need to lay on the couch all day and not waste away, let's say that's 1,600 calories. And then you have, I don't know, 2 children and you're running around all day after. Let's say we need to add 400 or 500 calories for that because they run around everywhere. Then you have your job and you need, I don't know, 500 extra calories. And we're already getting up there, right? So you need to make sure that you cover your caloric needs. So you do that by drinking enough fruit juices for calories and a little couple of vegetables there, and then also cover all your nutritious needs. When you do that, you will have no problem with energy. Now, I know there's a lot of these detox companies out there that offer you like 1,200 calories a day, and then they tell you to just hold out there. Like, forget about those. Drink enough juice. That's basically the main thing you need to do when your juice fast to have success. Drink enough juice. Make sure you cover all your nutritious need. Make sure you exercise or move your body, massage your colon, and you're good. Support your organs. So then you can do everything. Unless, of course, you have 10 children and you have to run around after them like 12 hours straight, then it can become a bit bothersome.
Wonderful. Okay, guys, does anyone else have any more questions? I wanted to ask you, Nathan, about using 3 things during the juice fast and on the raw food journey, which is salt,
Yes.
spices, and apple cider vinegar. What's your take on those?
Okay.
3?
I like all 3 of them.
You like or you don't like?
I like all 3 of them.
Okay.
Although with salt, I've experienced that specific types of salt don't make me feel good. They make me feel dehydrated. The only ones that really make me feel any type of good are pink Himalayan salt or black Himalayan salt or Celtic sea salt. Those 3 basically make me feel good. The rest dehydrate me, and I need to use only a little. And I found that when I crave salt, I don't really crave salt on itself, but I just crave foods that have salt, like natural salt in them. So greens, vegetables, for example, celery or stuff like that. When I eat enough vegetables, I don't really crave salt. So on a juice fast, you can also use it to put it in your juices. Very good for your electrolytes too, but don't use too much. When it comes to spices, I use them all the time, but we use fresh herbs here from the garden, or we use some dried herbs somewhere else that we buy. We use them on food to make like different tastes, put them in dressings. I've also put them sometimes in juices. For example, one of my favorite things to do is put some sun-dried tomatoes in my juice. So run them through the juicer. I soak them for a couple hours in water, then run them through the juice. Then you literally get a juice that tastes like pizza. Big tip here. And then when it comes to like apple cider vinegar, like we use it in dressings too. And I like it. Sometimes my friend over here also puts it in water and drinks it. So good by me. If you don't drink about a gallon, I'm fine with it.
And what about hot spices? What about hot spices?
I like hot spices. I really like hot spices. So I used them quite a lot. Although recently we went to like a restaurant with the family and everything, and we can order salads there and like anything that is like raw and everything. And it was a Nepalese restaurant and they had like spices on it too. That was too much for me. Like I felt like my soul was evaporating or something. So that was too much. But I like spices. But when I eat too much of it, I get like a mucus response. So that's interesting. But yeah, spices, I like them. Yeah. When you eat too much of them, then you can get like a mucus response. So then you know, like, oh, the body wants to get it out. But sometimes that's good too, because it can give you the mucus reaction, get things loose. They're also very good for getting rid of parasites. When you have like, for example, if you put something in there like ginger or turmeric, or you put like a hot pepper in your juice, that's going to make parasites run away because it's just too astringent, too powerful, too hot. They don't like that. So that could help a good lot too.
Interesting. And I also wanted to ask you, you mentioned filtering. You mentioned checking your kidneys for filtering. And then you said that you have to clean a jar and then see if there is a sediment. Now, but I guess there are probably a few more details to know, because obviously if you hadn't drank any water for a few hours, then your urine will be more concentrated. You will see more sediment. But if you drank like a few liters of water throughout the day and then you pee in a jar, then your urine will be less concentrated. You will see less filtering or almost none. So how would you deal with that?
Yeah, I know. This was my own belief as well, because I usually only got like insane filtration after doing a dry fast. But recently I had a little healing crisis in the Netherlands. It's on my YouTube channel. It's called My Kidney Started Filtering. It's like a couple of weeks ago. It was the first time that I was actually doing a juice fast, a mini juice fast of 3 days. And during that, drinking 6 liters of orange juice a day, right? That's a gallon and a half for you Americans. My kidneys started filtering and I had insane kidney filtration in my urine while I was still flushing my entire system with a lot of fluid. So that was interesting. But usually what you see is when you take in anything, be it water, be it juices, be it food, the kidneys have to process that. So they can't process themselves and get rid of the waste that's sitting there, or the lymphatic waste, especially when you're eating a lot of food. So when you give your body a rest from food, so either water, digesting anything, or juices, your kidneys can start filtering themselves and then get rid of stuff. So that's why you usually see more enhanced filtration. Now, I always say to everyone, especially my clients, like, do your morning urine, because then you've slept for a couple of hours. And then you can actually see like pure urine without having anything interfere with that. And then you can check it out. But throughout my years of raw foods and juicing now, the kidney filtration is still it fluctuates. Like sometimes it's really high, sometimes it's a little lower, but it's always there. So then you know if your kidneys are filtering. Now, one biggest thing to say is, like, if you don't see sediment, at least make sure that it's in the morning, it's like colored. If it's like clear in the morning, you got to work on the kidneys because there's nothing going on there. So make sure about that.
Very important point.
Hmm?
Very important point. Okay, and Nathan, another question that I wanted to ask is about the subject of mucoid plaque. It's quite a controversial subject. Some people say that there is no such thing, and some people swear by it that they saw it and it came out of them. So what's your take on it? Do you have any experience in this area?
Yes, well, I was skeptical at first. I saw the John Rose videos and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, man. That's not in me. Like, I have a very tight midsection and everything, and my digestion is fine on raw foods. But then I was getting interested. I'm like, is that inside of me? Let me give it a shot, right? Let me give it a try. So my first juice fast was a 3-day experiment, which became a 7-day experiment. I was still pooping at the time. Like, after 7 days of nothing but juice, I was like, it's got to be true what he's saying, right? Let me try. So I just took it day by day and eventually went 120 days. What came out of me, I don't know if you could call it mucoid plaque because there's many definitions of it, but what came out of me was very sticky, very dry, and it were long strands. And it sometimes was shaped like the small intestines, like little lumps with like little strands in between. Sometimes it were big chunks with grooves and patterns in it. Sometimes it were little lumps with grooves and patterns in it. And it stank to high heaven. Now, if you're interested, like, you can see everything on my YouTube. Like, I documented everything. I show you what came out of me. Warning, some of it is gross. So in my experience and in my case, I can say, yes, something very old came out of me. If you want to call that mucoid plaque or not, up to you. But yes, it's true. It was inside of me, and it's inside of all my clients. And I've coached up to 50 people now through an entire juice fast. It's there. However, it depends on the person, right? Some people have, I don't know, 20 kilograms or about 45 pounds in them. Some have 10 kilograms or 22 pounds in them, right? It all depends on what's inside of them. And like, one of my clients is a girl of 19 years old. She's on day 150. She still has stuff coming out of her. She was thin like a twig. So like, her absorption was really bad. So placated up. So yes, it's there. What you want to call it's up to you, but it's very real. Now, the amount differs from person to person. Almost everybody has it. It's insane, man. You won't believe until you do it.
Very interesting. So, so you actually filmed everything and you put it on YouTube?
Yes.
Ah, cool.
If you want to see it there, you can see everything that came out of me, every single one, like everything. I have a playlist on my YouTube. It's called My Juice Fast 2019. I show everything, man. So yeah, if you have a weak stomach, don't go there. But otherwise, everything that came out of me is there.
Yeah, that actually reminds me how I found your channel, because I was watching the video by Vegetable Police. And then and then you left a comment there that you have everything documented. So, and then I went to your channel. Just
yeah, he has a good channel too. He's like on day whatever 80 or something now, so he's like going really well. So yeah,
that's right. But just no,
on my like there's another YouTube channel out there that also show what's coming out of them. I've also linked them in my complete guide to juice fasting video series in the comments. You can find many channels who share what came out of them, and in my experience, like, some of their stuff is even more insane what came out of them than mine. Like, some of their stuff is even more disgusting. So just have a look at it. Like, it's insane.
Okay. But anyway, it's an interesting chain of events. So that you put your comment there, and then I found you, and now.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But like, how I discovered John Rose was even more like, I was just like researching intermittent fasting, and then I found this. At the time, I was like, well, my first reaction to the video was, ooh, a ripped grandpa. Let me look at that. He's talking about food, right? Let me look at that. Then he spoke about solid food vacation. I didn't even know what it meant or what it mean for me. And then I binge watched 30 of his videos, and that's how it all started. So it can just change, like, with one little thing you see, and then everything changes, right? And now I'm sitting here, right? How cool is that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's so good.
Okay, now Nathan, you also mentioned something very interesting that I probably didn't get right 100%. You said that so the sign that you completed your juice fast, your solid food vacation, is that when you are not pooping anymore, right? Like but what about liquid bowel movements? Like because
Yes.
obviously it makes sense to me that juice gets through your body and then you poop it out as a liquid bowel movement. So
True. Yes. You're completely correct, Arik. You're completely
okay.
correct. That's
So
what it is.
you're
A lot of people think you stop pooping, which is not the case. You just stop pooping solid waste matter, so you don't get formed stuff out of you that's dry or hard or whatever. The thing is, when you clean, you basically get fluid movements out of you. So when I got clean at day 108 of my first long juice fast, I was like, wait a minute, I have juice stuff coming out of me. What's this? I was completely flabbergasted. I didn't know what it was. So I waited another 11 days and nothing came out. And then I was like, I'm probably done. So you will get old stuff out of you. You get a lot of stuff out of you, and slowly but surely it slows down. And when you get to the end, you will have your last movement and then nothing comes out but fluids. Now, it doesn't need to smell like the juice, but it will definitely look like the juice. So you will see a little bit of juice fiber in there that's not strained out, or if you're not straining your juice. It will have the color of the juice, but a little murkier, and it will smell neutral. Now, this is a new experience when you get there, because before that, everything was smelling like some sewer system from Babylon or something, right? Like it was disgusting. So when you get there, you're like, oh, wait a minute. So you wait a couple of days and then you see just fluids coming out and it passes really easy, nothing going on, no smells. Might be some mucus in there or whatever, the body's dumping stuff. And then after a couple of days, like, I'm probably done. And then you can go on and eat again if you want to.
So you're saying that even if you take juices that are a little bit thicker than others, such as tomato juice is naturally a little bit thicker than other juices, or any other juices that are thicker, still your bowel movements are going to be liquid.
Yeah, there will be liquid to some degree. Now, if you take little thicker juice, like for example, mango juice, or for example, papaya juice or whatever, they're a little thicker, right? I found grape juice to be a little thicker too, especially the tomato juice and stuff like that. If you mix that in, like, it can get thick. Then you will see a little bit more of a mushy movement, right? But it will still be very fluid. I think everybody has ever experienced diarrhea in their life. It will be a little like this, like a lot of fluids and a lot of like mushy stuff in there. That's fine. But then you're also there.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, guys, does anyone else have any more questions?
We just had one in the chat, like adding tahini in the vegan salad is advisable, and just told them like you can do that if you like to.
Can I ask something? What do you suggest to support the kidneys, the liver, the glands?
Yeah, all right. The kidneys, dry fasting works wonders, but also just juicing in general. That just basically flushes the entire body. Distilled water is very good at cleansing the kidneys. So what you could do is just a day of water, of distilled water, that basically cleans the kidneys very well. There's also herbs, but I'm not the biggest one in herbs, so don't ask me that much. But you can go to Robert Morse and some other guys that know a lot about it, John Rose too. Then you can also do dry fasting combined with all the other things. Then we know that the liver is supported by glutathione. Now, this is an enzyme that's present in all fruits, but highest in watermelon. So if you want to support your liver, glutathione, then you can also use Shaka piedra, which is stone breaker, that will basically break up like kidney stones and maybe even liver stones and stuff like that. It's an Amazonian herb. It's called Chanca piedra, like John Rose talks about it too, and others too. But if you Google herb stone breaker, you'll find it. To support the glands, like if your kidneys are down, your adrenals will probably be down too, so you can't really sweat that much. Then you can start focusing on forcing sweating. So maybe go to a sauna or whatever and get a little sweat on and try to eliminate a lot. If your adrenals still working, you can sweat. If you're sweating, sweat a lot. Just move your body, put on 5 sweaters, start doing jumping jacks, take them off, sweat it out. Then you will get rid of a lot of lymphatic waste that otherwise the kidneys need to process. Then you can also look at, for example, to support the thyroid, radish juice is very good. That will help a hyper or hypothyroid. The other glands, general juicing will help them, but I don't know too much about those, so I can't really say anything there. But the main thing is distilled water for the kidneys, dry fasting, some herbs. Also, of course, juicing in general, sweating a lot if it is allowed. And then for the liver, of course, a coffee enema as well helps to stimulate the liver a lot and release stuff. But also, of course, the glutathione, which is highest in watermelon. And then for the thyroid, the radish juice and the other ones. I don't know much about it.
What do you know about UT, urine treatment, therapy?
You mean drinking urine?
Distilled water.
You mean drinking your urine? I've never done it. I've never done it. I know the principle behind it, though. They say that there's a lot of beneficial stuff in there that you can drink. A lot of people say that they healed stuff with it. Of course, there's also the practice of peeing on a fresh wound and stuff in old days. I personally have not found the appeal to it yet. Maybe I will in the future, who knows? Not yet. But I know a couple of my clients who tried it and I asked them, like, do you like it? They said no, but I don't know. Not my thing, but there's a couple of guys out there that know a lot about it, supposedly. But in my opinion, like, I've seen my kidneys filter. I see what comes out of my pee. It smells acid. Like, I wouldn't drink that, but that's me. Other than that, I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Do you know something about it that you could share with us?
I know that it's good for cancer, for diseases.
Yeah.
There's research about it. So it's good for diseases, for certain diseases.
I see.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's good to know, right?
I would like to invite someone who practices it, so that just for this kind of a webinar to enlighten us on this subject. It might be interesting.
Yeah, it's a very interesting.
I know a guy who does it and also does breathwork coaching combined. So he does urine therapy, but also that. I could send him to you, Arik. I'm sure you will be open
absolutely, absolutely. You could just connect with us, and it's
for me it's a no. I'm like drinking my own urine now. But that's me.
Yeah,
that's
maybe when you're healthy, you don't need it, but in certain diseases,
I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah. So we'll try to bring an expert in this subject here for the webinar, and then it's gonna be great. Like, it's because lots of people are asking, and it's also the subject that people like to discuss also in our group. So yeah. Okay, now Nathan, someone is asking here in the group. She did 21 days mono orange juice, and she had desire to choose something. She says desire to choose something seems to be pattern. How to get rid of it?
Yeah, that's a good one. Like, when you've eaten your entire life and then you go on a juice fad, like, you're not chewing, so that's a new thing. What I found worked best is chewing your juices. May sound really weird, but it actually works. Other than that, if you have the experience to chew, that's probably your body telling you, like, hey, bro, I need to eat. So you're not satisfying your need. If you're drinking orange juice only, like I've done it for 3 or 4 days, that's fine. But you're not getting all the nutrients you need. You're getting calories for sure. There's like 400 calories in a liter or 450. But you're not getting all your nutrients. So you need to drink all your nutrients too. So green juices, stuff like that. And then the chewing cravings will probably go away.
Good point. Good point. And then the same woman is asking, okay, you said that you're not an expert in that, but she says another question. Any opinion of taking herbs while on solid food vacation? So do you have anything to elaborate on that?
Well, I've never taken herbs myself during a juice fest, but my clients have. I know that herbs are basically there to stimulate certain glands or organs or support them. So they're very good to take when supporting them, or, supporting your body or stimulating something. But you have to keep in mind that most people take herbal formulas. There's many herbs in there, and they take multiple herbal formulas together. So my advice is always to my clients as well, take it easy. Take a little bit of this herb, take a little bit of that herb, see how you respond. If you want to support your liver, or you want to support your, your kidneys or whatever, take it, man, see what it does. But take a little bit of it, see how you respond. Don't go to a bamboozle state and take intensity of it. And then slowly start combining things to see how you respond to it. But I know, for example, that a lot of my clients take Robert Morse's herbs, and they have very good experiences with them.
Okay. Thank you very much. And another question coming from the same girl is, she says, swelling in feet, eyelids. Any comment on such symptoms?
Yeah, edema is basically where your body is not, having good flow. So there's not good blood flow. There's not good fluid flow basically, and everything is just sitting. So what you want to do is, it is painful, but move your body, sweat a lot to get rid of a lot of stuff. Make sure your kidneys are filtering, but also make sure that your circulation is good. So then we're going to get to the heart, but also the liver. So see it like this, right? You have an artery or you have a vein system. It's like this. You can compare that to a garden hose, but then your blood and your lymphatic system is so thick, so congested. It's not filtering well. It's just sitting there. It's like trying to ram cottage cheese through a garden hose. That takes a lot of pressure. So then you're going to see that. So when you have edema, usually you have higher blood pressure too. So those two are combined. But clean your entire system, eat more fruits and vegetables, move if you can, sweat a lot, then it should become less. It can also become a little more intense in the beginning because the body's like, hey, we're getting good stuff, let's get it out. Other than that, I don't know too much about it. And then I would always advise people, and I do this with my clients too, like if they're very severe things, then I tell them like, go to someone who knows a lot about this. So a John Rose or Robert Morse or whatever, and get their opinion because I don't have that much experience with it.
Yeah, yeah. She says that in terms of swelling, it seems to be shifting. Upon waking up, swelling is in the eyelids, and as the day progresses, swelling shifts towards the lower legs and feet. So that's her symptom.
That's interesting because when she wakes up, she's like flat, right? So the body levels. So then the buildup is here, and when she stands up, gravity pulls it down. If you believe in gravity, that is. Then it pulls it down. So the blood circulation goes like this, or like round the body. So it goes all the way down and all the way up. So it could be that it gets stuck there. But other than that, I wouldn't know too much about it. Maybe someone in the comments in YouTube or whatever in the group.
Okay. And then she's asking, how long does it take before we start experiencing faster colon cleanup? For example, like waste out. Of course, it will vary for everyone depending on their condition.
Yeah. Well, if you drink enough juice, you're going to see it really quickly. And if you eat raw foods, you'll see it to some degree too. Fasting, intermittent fasting with raw foods will clean out a lot. But with juicing, if you drink enough juice, 4 to 6 liters, preferably in the 6 liter range, you're going to see a lot of improvement really quickly because you're going to eliminate a lot of stuff. Usually by day 3, you'll start seeing questionable things where you're like, what's this? This seems rather dubious. And then by the time you're a week or 2 weeks in, you're going to see older stuff and then you're going to move into a lot. So drink a lot of juice, you're going to see it really good.
Okay, Nathan. Now, could you please elaborate on the subject of exercise while on solid food vacation? What kind of exercise is preferable, and everything related?
Well, it really depends on what you want to do. Like, for example, in the first 30 days of my juice fast, my long one, I did a lot of weightlifting and actually gained some muscle on it. But I found that wasn't really the best thing I wanted to do. It was too much stress on the body. I wanted it to heal and cleanse. So I would say do anything that is not too strenuous and just move your body. Go for a walk, go for a bike ride, do some light yoga, do some light stretching. I don't know, go have fun at night with your spouse. That's movement too. I don't know, go for a hike or something that's not too strenuous. And you can always add more resistance exercise, which I always advise to clients and everybody. Twice a week, do something that basically taxes your body somewhat. Doesn't have to be to build muscle, but at least maintain your muscle, because if you don't use it, you'll lose it. So anything that moves your blood, moves your lymph, and then of course also maybe twist your torso so you get a little bit of bending there, but just move your body.
And it's probably the same advice for people who practice raw food lifestyle.
Raw food especially, because a lot of people get thin like a twig because they just don't use their body and then they blame the diet. There's also a thing like exercising in general is good, like move every single day. Obviously, it moves your blood, it moves your limbs, filters your body. But also mentally, it's very nice. So it just relaxes you and makes you feel untaxed. But then also using your body, like your muscles, even if a woman, like use your body, otherwise it's going to get thin and just doesn't hold it on. So very important for both. Now, if you're on a raw food diet and you're just thin as a twig and you're never gaining weight and you're just losing weight, then your absorption is probably not optimal. So then you need to start cleaning it out, either juicing or doing some intermittent fasting on raw foods. And juicing is just going to get you there quickest.
Good. Okay, guys, does anyone else want to ask any questions?
Yeah, before we get into that, like, I'll have to go in like 5 minutes because then I have a call with a client. So I have 5 minutes.
Okay.
Of course. Nathan, one short question.
Yes.
That was interesting that you mentioned about hyper and hypothyroidism regarding the radish juice. So is it advisable? I mean, how long does the one who is suffering from thyroid should take this juice? Is it that he should take this juice for a prolonged period of time? And if yes, how much of juice do you recommend?
Yes. Well, it works for hypo and hyper. The thing though is you get in hyper first and then you get into hypo. When in the hyper stage, you're probably going to get a little bit quicker results because you're not that far advanced. But you can just simply add a little bit of radish to a juice, and you can add like 1 little radish to it that will have effect. You can also add radish to every single juice, but then you have to see how you respond to it, right? The same thing with the herbs. Slowly add them to it, see how you respond to what your body does. But my clients that have like more radish juice in their juice basically take like 2 or 3 radishes over the day and add it to a little bit of juice. We always want to be careful what we do because we can overwhelm the body. We don't know what happens. So slowly build it up and then see what happens to it. But you can take it for quite a long time if you want and see what it does.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
You're
Nathan.
welcome.
So we will let you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So thank you very much for this webinar. It was so informative and so inspiring.
You're welcome.
And we will open it to the questions of the people on the chat of our group. And if there is enough questions, then we can invite you again.
Sure.
Yeah. And then
I would love to. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love to, and I would love to talk about raw foods too, or any type of fasting. I'll be active in the chat too, answering some questions or whatever. So
excellent.
But just thank you for having me. I love it.
Yeah, Nathan. Now, just one more thing, just before we wrap it up, please tell us a little bit about your services. Like, if people really like your information, if they want to consult with you on a personal basis, what should they do?
Well, what you should do is firstly determine, what do I need? Do I need something from Nathan or do I need something from someone else? Do I vibe with Nathan? If yes, you come to me. If not, you go to someone else. Get someone you really vibe with. Now, if you vibe with me, you can go to my website, basically just look at the work with me tab. And you can basically see what you want to do with me. Now, I offer a couple of services. I offer consultation hours, so you can just call me, ask a couple of questions, or offer full-on mentorship, where I take you through a 3-month process where we either go through a raw food transition or a juice fast, or a back to raw foods transition after a juice fast. And I'm basically your accountability. So we can talk every week, every couple of days. I get you through the entire thing, and we just talk about it. I know what you're going through. I know what you will go through. And I also know how to do it and everything. So we basically just talk about everything, talk strategy, and I'll be the accountability you need to get you through that entire thing, and the support, because it can be quite a lonely journey and a non-understood journey. So that's basically what I offer. And you basically have a buddy that goes with you through the entire thing. What I actually wanted in my first juice fest, but it wasn't there. So I just created it. You can just contact me there, or you just can send me an email or hit me up on my YouTube or whatever.
Amazing. So we'll put all the contact details below this video, and please, guys, feel free to contact Nathan and to ask him questions and to get interested in his programs.
I also offer like free consultation sessions, like 15 minutes. You can just go to my website, click the link, and just book a call, and we can get in it. But the most important thing is that you invest in you. And if you want to invest in yourself, but you're not sure if you can fully do it on your own, then invest in yourself through someone else. That's the most important thing. Do it for you and have your goal set. And if you have the money, you can invest in someone else. Do it, man. I would have loved to, but I just couldn't find one. I called Joe Rose, he just never answered. So find someone that can help you and then make it happen. And that's what I'm for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nathan. So have fun. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
You have a wonderful group. If anyone watches this and they come on your YouTube channel or whatever, the fasting group is amazing. When I've seen the content go by, everybody's supportive, fun and engaging content, like other like live streams and stuff. So if you're interested, just do it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you very much, guys, for coming. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you for the questions. Bye-bye. Have a good one. Bye-bye.